Hey y'all, this is Cherie with Sunshine and Pixie Dust. Today I'm making a God Bless the USA wreath using the curly method. This is, if you bought a kit from me, this is all the supplies as they would come in the kit, already prepared to put together this wreath. If you did not, I will walk through all the steps and tell you what the supplies are and how you can make this wreath on your own. So we have a sign. I've already attached pipe cleaners to the corners of the star, and we're going to set this aside for last. We have 4 different ribbons. So I have the stars with the glitter, the plaid, some more stars, and the trucks. Make sure y'all can see these well. So I have cut these in 12-inch strips, and I have done the dovetail cut on them. And there are 8 sets of these 2 and 7 sets of these 2, and we're going to walk through all that. Then I have pipe cleaners here. I have 2 pack sets of 15 because we're going to make 30 sets of bundles for this wreath. I'm going to use 3 different deco meshes on this wreath. This is a 10-inch roll of deco mesh that I've cut into 10-inch squares. I've used 3 different patterns. So for this wreath, I have a solid blue, a solid red, and then I have this red, white, and blue pattern. I like to, when I do the curly method, I usually like to do 2 simple, and then I like to do one with a pattern. Some of the ones I've done before were with a different deco mesh, but I've run out of that deco mesh and having a harder time getting it, so this one we're going to do with this one. And then the last piece is going to be the frame. This is just a Dollar Tree frame, and I'll show you how we'll get that together. So right now I have 30. I didn't tell you that part. I have 30 bundles of these already cut, so 30 of each color. And when I cut them, I just cut them all together at one time using a roller. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start, I'm going to put these aside. We are going to make our little bundles of these. So in the curly method, what you're going to do is take your roll, your 10-inch mesh. It's going to naturally want to roll in. You're going to help it. You can, depending on how you want your wreath to look, it's going to look a little different whether you go really tight. So this is a moderately tight. I can do really, really tight one. Sometimes they see how it's tighter. And then I can do them looser if I want. I find that the challenge is you really want in the middle. But I think all of them make a very unique wreath, and it's the wreath that, it's your wreath. So however you make it look, it's going to look beautiful when you get all these bundles together. So then I get the 3 together, and you can see I just kind of held them as I was working on another one. I'll show you again. You're going to take your pipe cleaner around it. You do 2 times really tight. So that's a bundle. Now I told you I split my pipe cleaners into 2 sets of 15. One set of the 15s is going to be 15 bundles just like this, just of the deco mesh. Okay? Then I'm going to do bundles that are going to include the ribbon. So I'm going to do one of those next. So I've got my 3 pieces of deco mesh. Roll them. I just usually place them under my hand while I roll the next one. If you have bag chip clips or something like that, you can use that to hold them. I think I've just done this enough. You get used to finding a way, but it's what works best for you. Okay, so this time now I've got the 3 done. I'm going to kind of keep my hand over them. Now I'm going to add 2 ribbons to them. So let's start with this first set. So I'm going to take this ribbon and this one. These were the 2 I told you we have 8 of each. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to fold it in half. I like to crease it because that just helps me mark my middle. Then I gather it up in the middle. See how I kind of pinch it together? Then I kind of like to pull, and we're going to do a little more of this when we fluff the wreath. But I like to pull it and give it a little shape. We're going to add these into the bundle on top. And then from my pipe cleaners for my 15, they're going to be with ribbons. When you tie it, you see how when I'm pulling back, this is on top, and I'm going to tie on the bottom. Okay? There we go. I have now a bundle with ribbons in it. So I'm going to go through and keep showing you how I'm making my bundles. Doesn't matter what order you work on these. The key is that in the end you're going to have 30 bundles, 15 with ribbons and 15 without. Now if you want to get fancy with how you put your ribbons together, last time I put the star on top with the plaid ribbon. The next one I'll probably put the plaid ribbon on top of it. And I'll do it this way. And so it'll be a little different because last one had star on top, this one will have plaid on top. And right now I'm just alternating between the ribbon and the non-ribbon just so I can show it to you. I usually do all of one type first. Sometimes I mix up what order I do these in. It's all going to work together on your wreath when you add them to the frame. You might have some fraying on your deco mesh. Don't pull at them now. Once we get them on the frame, we can trim them if we need to. One question I get in some of my classes at the house is, do they have to stay perfectly circled, round up on this end like this? And no, they don't. It actually, if you look at one of the bundles I did before, you can see how this one kind of changed up its shape a little bit. It just adds dimension to it. It's your wreath. And excuse the dogs drinking their water in the background. So actually this one I got a little off. I wasn't quite in the center, so I'm going to fix it. And you want to do these tight. So I'm doing 2 tight twists, and there's another bundle. Sometimes they're going to curl up a little bit. That's okay. Once we put them on the frame, we're going to be attaching them on the frame. It's going to push them up. And they're going to be pushed up into a different shape. Kind of all tight. And when we get them on the frame, you can move around how the colors fall out on the frame. So it's just a matter of making the bundles. So now I'm just going to keep making my bundles and see you in a few minutes. So I'm just going to sit here and keep working. I'll do one more with the ribbon. And if you have any questions while you're watching it, just drop a comment on the video and I'll try to check in with you. If you are a member of the Sunshine and Pixie Dust Facebook group, you can also post some questions there, especially if you purchased a one of the kits and you're trying to work on your kit now. Definitely reach out, ask me questions. And I can try to list the measurements as well down below. Okay, with the magic of video, we now have 15 bundles without ribbon. They're sitting down here on the side. We have 15 bundles with the ribbons. They're all sorted in front of me based on which ribbons are in them. So the next step is that we're going to attach our bundles to the frame. So as I said before, we have a Dollar Tree frame. The Dollar Tree frame has 6 sections, and we're going to fit 5 bundles in each section. Okay? We're going to start with one without a ribbon. I take my 2 pipe cleaners, and you see when you look at this frame, there's 4 wire rims. We're going to attach this bundle to the middle. So that's going to wrap around the middle 2 rims. We're going to give it 2 tight twists. And that's all you're going to do with it for now. We're going to come back and tuck those in. But because we're going to move this around, we're going to start with this. You're going to be surprised at first as you're adding these 2, you're going to think this doesn't look right. Trust the process. As you keep going, it's going to fill it in. You're going to find you have a lot less room at the end to fit them in, and they're going to bunch up pretty tightly. So the first one is without ribbon. So then I'm going to take one with ribbon. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take it and I'm wrapping my pipe cleaner around these two rims, the two middle rims. Okay. Then I'm going to go to one without ribbon. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I have 6 sections that I need to attach 30 bundles. So I'm going to put 5 in each section. So I'm going to be sliding them in to get them in tight. And you'll keep coming back possibly and counting them. It's okay. So there's those. So that was that ribbon. So last time I used the star plaid. So then I'm going to alternate to a truck. And your deco mesh might stick together. It's all good. Keep squeezing it around that frame. See if I can get it at the best angle. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm sticking, you can see where I'm sticking my pipe cleaner around those 2 rims. So I'm pulling it around those 2 rims and tying it tight twice. And it's important to tie it tight so it doesn't slip as you keep pulling on it later. So that was with a ribbon, and now I'm going to do without a ribbon. And this will be my 5th one for this section of the frame. Okay. And back to with the ribbon. So now I've moved into, I've got 5 in this first section between this bar and this bar. Now I'm loading in into my next section. I'm just going to keep alternating. Alright, so I'm on my last section. And this is where things get really tight because I've had to keep squeezing things together to fit. But I have one section of 5 left, and that's where we're going to put these last 5 in there. In the beginning, as you're attaching them, it doesn't seem like you're going to fill up the frame, but you definitely will by the time you get to this point. Alright, just one more to go. And that is a shaking dog in my background, if you wonder what that noise is. Alright, I'm fitting in this last one, and it's definitely a tight fit. I have dogs hiding at my feet at the moment. so they don't get bathed, but they're going to. They're not going to win. Okay, so now we've attached all 30 to the frame. Can you see as you look around? Okay, so all 30 is attached. Now, this is not a good finish because the back, everything is sticking up. So now we're going to go through and we're going to attach, and we couldn't do this as we went through it because we needed them to be spaced out well. So now that everything is spaced out, we're going to go through. Now that it's all spaced out, we're going to go through and take all these pipe cleaners, and I kind of call it, I'm going to worm them to my frame. I'm going to attach them to my frame and they look like little worms. And the reason I say that is I'm going to show you. As I twist them around my frame, so you see how I took this one and I just twisted that extra pipe cleaner around the back. I just did a little twist, and that's just to clean it up on the back. Doesn't matter which bar you twist it to, just get it twisted back here to the frame. So the next stage is to just go through all the way around to all 30 sets and now twist them to your frame. This is a very time-consuming wreath of a lot of repetitive steps. But this is a great wreath to make while you're binge watching your favorite show on TV. Just keep twisting, or as Dory says, just keep swimming. Just find a place and attach it. This is also going to protect your door because you're going to be able to take these pipe cleaners and tuck them in and make sure the rough edges are underneath. Alright, so all 30 of them have been attached to the frame. That's going to keep them from moving. So now we're going to flip it over. Now we're going to go through and find all of our bundles of ribbon, our bundles with ribbon, and we're going to split them. So you're going to split those ribbons to make an X. And you're going to get those ribbons and you're going to bring them out and you're going to shape them so they're out. And you're showing all that ribbon, that beautiful ribbon that we've attached to this wreath. We want to make sure it can be seen. So I know I have 15 of them in here. So there's one here hiding. We'll get all of them. And I like to spread them in a crisscross where I alternate so that the X makes the same pattern on the opposite side. So you see these two are on the opposite side of that. And I keep finding them all till I spread them all out. And because we've tied it so tight to the frame, you're able to pull that ribbon and move it. Move that ribbon around. Move that ribbon around and hide it. And if it does like that and it slips a little bit, then we'll just fix it. Fix it back in. Sometimes you'll have a little bit overlap in your ribbons. No big deal. Keep spreading out the ribbons. Okay, the dog just got his pen wet, so he's slipping and sliding. And for those of y'all who've been to a wreath class at my house, that's Mr. Roo slipping and sliding in the pen. Okay, so still stretching out, spreading out all my ribbons. And this is what we call fluffing a wreath. As I tell everybody in my classes or everybody I'm making a wreath with, you're going to fluff on the table, like we're doing right here, but then you're going to fluff on the door or wall. Always hanging on the door or wall to get that final look about your wreath so you know if you're happy with it. And get it exactly like you like it. So keep moving. I'm going through all 15 sets of the bundles that had ribbon. Just spreading them out. And see, like right here, I have a lot of red showing together. Reach up underneath and move that bundle around to get the colors to come through. There's a lot of colors in here, and in a spiral, I forgot what I even called this, curly wreath method, it's tight, so you got to help it. You got to get those colors to come through. Okay, so I think that's where I don't even know if we made it all the way around. Yeah, I think we have. There we go. Okay, so next thing we do is our last step. Our last step is to add our sign. So I usually look at my wreath and I'm kind of looking at with my sign on it. And there's always a spot that isn't quite as full as others, or just less likely on this wreath than some of the other styles. But you're going to find that spot and place your sign. So this sign, as I showed you, has 5 points. And what we do is we're going to feed this sign back through the frame with these 2 pipe cleaners and kind of hover around. Then you decide how tight you want to attach it. So sometimes I set mine in a little deeper, where they kind of are sunk in. You don't want it to go too deep because then it gets lost. But it's up to you on how much you hide it or showcase it on your wreath. So I'm just going to lightly attach it to this frame. This can be challenging as you're trying to make sure you don't get it off center. So just kind of keep a look, and that's the reason why I do it lightly, so that I can fix it easily. One thing I did on this wreath, and I try to do on some of my wreath kits, is the pipe cleaners on the back of this sign are different than the pipe cleaners you use to attach your bundles. And that way, when we flip it over to tighten them, they're easier to find. That's the goal anyway. And it's okay. I know we're hiding the sign. We're hiding some ribbons with the sign. We're going to fix that when we fluff it again. Several stages of fluffing. And once I do these light attachments, I'll show you on the back how it's coming through. And right now I'm just kind of feeling for it, that I feel it come through, and I pull the 2 together. And again, I'm not doing it tight. If I did it tight, it would be harder for me to attach the other side, because it's kind of lift up a little bit before it can go down. So just to show you from the camera, what I'm doing is I'm taking these, if you can see that, I have these 2 brown pipe cleaners that are coming through, just lightly coming around, and I'm just taking around 1 pole, 1 metal bar, and just lightly twisting them. This is too light to keep it on permanently, but it's enough that I can get it attached and make sure it's where I want it. Ooh, I thought I was almost done. I missed that one. Or it came off, and that happens. All good. So when I twisted this one, I must not have twisted it around the bar. I just twisted it together. Let's try again. All right, so right now I have all 5 points on it. So I'm going to put it in the center, show you under the camera. I can help work out around that sign that some of these ribbons are showing, that they might be hidden a little bit. I can help them come through. Some of this you'll see more when you hang it on the door or the wall. Keep adjusting it. All right, so that's where I like it. I think it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to flip it back over again, and I'm going to tighten it to my frame. I'm not going to tie it in too tight, but I'm going to do it enough that I can make contact with this frame. And I'm trying to make sure I'm pulling it about the same amount of tightness on each one. Easier said than done. All right, last one. Okay, flip it back over. Okay, so see, I see that it's a little bit tighter on the top, so I'm going to pull those last two just a little bit more. All right, and there we have it. Again, when you put it up on the wall, you're going to look at it just a little bit differently. Go fluff it up. But there we have it. There's our God Bless the USA wreath made in the curly method. So thanks for stopping by and watching with us today. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. Let us know what you think. If there's some other things you'd like for us to see. And I'll also put the information below on the supplies that we use to make this wreath. Thank you so much. Have a great day.